Welcome back to the Convo Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
We have a great show for you today.
We do.
The fam is back.
I am.
She went on a little trip. Tell the people at home where you went, fam.
Oh, I just went to San Fran, trying to get away for a little bit.
Yeah, now she wants to move up there.
No, I just like it over there.
Oh,
I've always liked it. I've always liked it.
This one wants to move to San Francisco. Our engineer extraordinaire wants to move to San Diego. And if they do that to me, I'm just going to freaking Vegas. We're going to leave LA altogether.
Why would anyone want to move to Vegas?
Oh, there's a lot of reasons why somebody would want to move to Vegas. But let's not get into that now. We have too much to unpack. It's been a crazy week, to say the least. And we have a very sensitive subject to talk about today. But we have to talk about this, fam. It's about Ilhan Omar and AIPAC.
Yeah. Well, as many of you know, Ilhan was pretty much just destroyed. The establishment tried to destroy her for her statements against AIPAC and talking about the influence of lobbyists in our system. And so these people went crazy and they turned it around and made her remarks about anti-Semitism, calling her anti-Semitic. And we finally have a congresswoman who's a congresswoman of color, a Muslim woman. And, you know, we have this opportunity to hear what her thoughts are and how she's going to proceed. And then the first thing we do is destroy her. The first thing we do is attempt to just drown out her voice and tell her that she is being anti-Semitic for speaking out against something that people should know and that a lot of people don't know about.
What is that they should know? That AIPAC are what?
That AIPAC are
lobbyists.
Well, yeah. Well, they're not just lobbyists. They have so much influence on our politics and our government, and the amount of money we give to Israel is astounding. And the amount of influence they have in how they are using that money is also, you know, an act of inhumanity and irresponsibility. And we're not calling it out. We're constantly ignoring the fact that what they're doing is wrong, and we're letting them get away with using the idea that it's anti-Semitic to criticize the state of Israel and Netanyahu's government, when that is actually not the case. And she was very brave to do that. Nobody has really done that.
It all started with Glenn Greenwald kind of put out the tweet that GOP leader Kevin McCarthy was going to punish her and Rashida Tlaib for tropes or criticisms towards Israel. But when the tweet came out and it was it's all about the Benjamins, baby, when she was talking about AIPAC, which are lobbyists, okay, they don't represent everybody in Israel. No. They don't represent poor people. They represent people who can afford lobbyists, rich people primarily. And she just put, it's all about the Benjamins. Then the smear began. And I'm not talking about a smear on a bagel with cream cheese and lox. I'm talking about this unmerited, it's anti-Semitic to talk crap about AIPAC. Can we show some of the senators, the congressmen, two of them in particular, Mr. Conaway. We have a little small video, and also a Max Rose, the Democratic chairman, when they try to twist these things when you're specifically talking about lobbyists. Here we go.
Those who bless Israel, I'll curse those who curse Israel. I'm sticking with God on that one. I trust his promise in that regard. Comments that divide us, that put us in individual camps like that, are inappropriate. And you would think someone who's been here that long, and she's been here like what, a week, that she would know better, but she doesn't. This is not the first time she's made comments that got her in trouble with her own side, and they're deplorable.
That when Kevin McCarthy said that it was Bloomberg, it was Soros, it was Steyer, that caucus can't be chicken in the face of anti-Semitism either. In the face of anti-Semitism, we don't acknowledge party. In the face of any hate, any vitriol, we don't acknowledge party. Okay? So, seriously, you're not agents of the Republican Party. I don't think it's set.
Right? But he's calling on a Republican to hand down punishment. And it just shows you, when it comes to AIPAC and the lobbyist fam, they're all on the same side, Democrat or Republican. It doesn't make a difference.
It's about money. It's about war. It's about that power. And who are the Republicans to really get on their high horse and start criticizing anybody when they stood next to Nazis? And, you know, there are good people on many sides.
Bush, yeah, I mean,
many sides. Nazis. Who are the Republicans to do that? I mean, their base is built up by Nazis who are anti-Semitic. So this isn't about anti-Semitism. This is about where your donors are, where your money comes from, where your loyalties are, who pays your bills, who gives you nice checks. That's what this is about. This has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. And it's actually really insulting to Jewish people and to people who died in World War II to use this to politicize this as anti-Semitism, to politicize the corruption in our government as anti-Semitism. It's insulting to the people who died.
And it's terrible because she specifically, in one tweet, when Bataya Unger Sargon asked, would love to know who Ilhan Omar is talking about is paying American politicians to be pro-Israel. And she responded, AIPAC. You have that tweet, right? Look at this. She responded, she's not even talking about the state of Israel, which you can be really critical about without being anti-Semitic, but she's talking specifically about the lobbyist group AIPAC. And it just reminded me, and I just put it up on the Convo Couch, fam. If anybody wants to go there, like and subscribe and look, you want to go, look on my page about when Donald Trump was sitting there talking about draining the swamp, that he would stop this whole practice of dealing with lobbyists and then also lobbyists with a foreign country. And yet now he is calling on her to step down when he's been funded to the T. I mean, it must have been lobbyists except for AIPAC is what he should have said, fam.
Well, because he's not an anti-interventionist candidate like he said he was, and now we all the people who voted him based on that should be aware by that of that by now. So,
what is a trope, fam? Can you explain that? Because you're good with. Is it like a metaphorical kind of saying of sorts?
Like these generalizations, the stereotype.
Yeah.
So to speak. And, like they're just using that word like, oh, she fell into this trope of equating all Jewish people with money and corruption. And that's not even what she did.
Yeah.
They're just mad. The general public gets wrapped up in this through emotion, but they're just mad because these lobbyists are just mad because she exposed them.
She did.
So,
well, I'm glad that somebody, and I told Johnny this before, I said a lot of people in America, they're waiting for this rhetoric, okay? You know what I'm saying? Because they hide. It's all about deflection when they start yelling about the anti-Semitism, because those two congressmen too, you know what I'm saying? All these people, we looked on the pro-Israel page on Open Secrets last night, me and John, everybody's on there. Everybody's on there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and the whistling and the signaling from Donald Trump, even him moving the embassy, it just shows you who the real boss is, fam. And it's Israel. It's that government.
And it's sad how the mainstream media and all of the Democratic establishment and even people like Bernie Sanders and Ocasio have kind of not had the best responses, because it just shows how powerful Netanyahu and Israel's hold over us is. And that's something that we should be worried about. That's what is actually worrisome, how powerful it is, and how it's almost impossible for people to be able to speak out against it, because otherwise they get framed as anti-Semitic.
And that was the game plan, is to now discipline her so hard. They already tarnished her career. Mike Tracy made this statement, this tweet. They've already tarnished her career so much, but now it is to beat her down in such a corner that she won't speak up again, because that's the game plan. But I hope, this is the second time it's happened. Another trope a while ago, and she had to apologize for it. But I love the rhetoric. You can see Michael Tracy's, and he's got a blue star, fam, so he means he's special. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they're doing. It's this unmerited smear campaign, all in the voice of Israel. So,
And I think in 1 week, though, let's talk about the Democratic Party, because I posted this. Yeah. In 1 week, the Democratic Party managed to refuse to condemn a white supremacist, Steve King, and falsely accuse a progressive black Muslim congresswoman of anti-Semitism. With moves like that, you don't need Russia to lose an election. No. That's the thing. And so this is what the Democratic Party is doing to their own. Yeah.
Because they all take that money, fam.
Right.
Pelosi.
There is a huge
Schumer.
problem with the influence of the state of Israel in the Democratic Party. We know this. A lot of people in progressive circles have been in some form or another attacked for their views on Free Palestine, on BDS. And it just shows just how powerful these people are. But nobody should be that powerful. Nobody should be above reproach in what they're doing. What we need to do now, and I don't think Ilhan's career is ruined. I think that's what they're trying to do. Yeah. I think progressives need to be extremely vocal and stand with her constantly, because otherwise,
No, you saw that what she put. She apologized, but she says she still acknowledged the fact that lobbyists need to be dealt with. And APEC is somewhat in the line of, at the NRA or fossil fuels. Lobbying is bad. We can't just say that one specific lobby is okay because it represents, a certain country that's an ally of ours. An ally for what, first of all? This is all about the Benjamins for real. She was right for saying these things. I am so sorry if you're offended, but I'm not sorry because APEC are lobbyists. You know what I'm saying? And, she apologized, but she still, and here's the thing, fam, she's coming out of this more popular, more understanding. There's a lot of people behind her. I guarantee she'll have more Twitter followers. I guarantee you she's going to be bumped on up for her stance there and stuff like that. You said Bernie Bernie Winkle the Bernie bro. He put something over there, a little tweet. Do you have that one up? Because fam, it's kind of in line for what you said in the purple. Or is that by Russia? No, you put this up because it was kind of in line about what you said in the purple. I thought it says a lesson in anti-Semitism.
Right. These are just people's reactions to her lesson in anti-Semitism. A crazed gunman shoots up a synagogue because he hates Jews. Anti-Semitic, calling Jews money-grubbing kikes. Anti-Semitic, Hitler's final solution. Not anti-Semitic. A Muslim congresswoman says AIPAC spends money to influence policy. So we can't equate everything that's critical of Israel to anti-Semitism because then it just lowers what actually is anti-Semitic. Same thing with anything you do where you say something is sexist when it's not. It minimizes actual victims. This minimizes actual victims that are actually suffering anti-Semitism. So in doing that, you're actually hurting the very people you're saying you're protecting.
So when you're saying when you use it for deflection, which I see all the time, it actually lessens the blow for when it really happens. In other words, it lessens the urgency that we pay less attention to it because it's just been thrown out there for deflection all the time. It has an adverse effect. You understand how that works, ladies and gentlemen?
Exactly. Yeah. And we wanted to also talk about Ilhan because she's kind of on a roll here again, talking about how she's actually exposing Elliot Abrams, who is being like the guy being sent to deal with Venezuela. He's like the envoy. This is
a guy, a dirty guy who's had a history of lying, manipulating Congress back in the days when it came to Guatemala. All the words, this guy has a history a long time ago of being pro-regime change.
Him being in charge of that is ludicrous. It's like putting a literal criminal in charge of of dealing with rehabilitation. Like it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So we have a video of her.
Medea Benjamin's friend. She even sends a shout out. This is great stuff. We need more stuff like this, fam. This is what I love. The activists. You go, activists.
No, this is the video of Ilhan.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Omar.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for your testimonies. Mr. Adams, in 1991, you pleaded guilty to 2 counts of withholding information from Congress regarding your involvement in the Iran-Contra affair, for which you were later pardoned by President George H.W. Bush. I fail to understand why members of this committee or the American people should find any testimony that you give today to be truthful.
If I can respond to that.
It wasn't a question.
That
was not a question. I reserve the right to my time.
It is not right.
That was not a question.
Committee can attack
on February 8th,
who is not permitted to reply.
That was not a question. Thank you for your participation. On February 8th, 1982, you testified before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee about U.S. policy in El Salvador. In that hearing, you dismissed as communist propaganda report about the massacre of El Mozote, in which more than 800 civilians, including children as young as 2 years old, were brutally murdered by U.S.-trained troops. During that massacre, some of those troops bragged about raping a 12-year-old girl before they killed them. girls before they killed them. You later said that the U.S. policy in El Salvador was a fabulous achievement. Yes or no, do you still think so?
From the day that President Duarte was elected in a free election to this day, El Salvador has been a democracy. That's a fabulous achievement.
Yes or no, do you think that massacre was a fabulous achievement that happened under our watch?
That is a ridiculous question, and I
yes
will not
or no?
No.
I will.
Sorry, Mr.
I will
Chairman,
take that as a yes.
I am not going to respond to that kind of personal attack, which is not a question.
Yes or no? Would you support an armed faction within Venezuela that engages in war crimes, crimes against humanity, or genocide, if you believe they were serving U.S. interest, as you did in Guatemala, El Salvador, and Nicaragua?
I am not going to respond to that question. I'm sorry. I don't think this entire line of questioning is meant to be real questions, and so I will not reply.
Okay.
Oh.
I mean, we had
I love this woman.
AOC a few days ago. Now
Can
we
I get a
have
T-shirt,
her.
fam?
I know she's
Oh
killing
my
it.
lord! I
She's
mean, I
killing
liked her, but now,
Yeah.
holy cow! And that, you know what? She's saying things that we want these people, these progressives we put in office to say. Touche to her, touche to Rashida, and touche to AOC.
And you know
really
what?
stepping up their game in Tulsi Gabbard.
And I'm going to highlight Ilhan as
Wow.
the bravest right now because nobody, not even
Wow.
AOC, has spoken out against our imperialism in Venezuela at all, like
Wow.
to that degree, and has highlighted exactly what we do as far as our interventionism in Central and South
Tulsi,
America.
yeah.
Besides
hers, yeah.
besides Tulsi, who's
Tulsi.
running for president, but you know, she's going straight to the artery, to, you know, and she's going there. She's like exposing everything, and this is precisely why they're trying to smear her. Same thing with Tulsi. Anybody who criticizes the military-industrial complex and who questions our imperialist ways are the ones that are going to be smeared, and that's exactly what they're doing to her. And she's also exposing this diplomat because he's like the guy in charge of dealing with Venezuela, and it's just ludicrous to have someone like that in charge.
You know, we did you want to do anything else before we move on to the next subject? Because we were going to move on to the next subject, but I wanted to make sure, because the most important thing is, fam, is that we're talking about these arguments against lobbyists, you know what I'm saying, is with APEC, and that's what it's really about, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes the discussion is moved away where it shouldn't be moved away, and I don't want to forget about the atrocities that are really going on against the Palestinian people, and that's why I think the Finkelstein video, should we show that real quick?
Yeah,
or?
let's go ahead and show that video.
If you have that Finkelstein, because let's not forget what's really going on, and this is just from years ago. Go right ahead.
Go ahead.
Hi. During your speech, you made a lot of references to Jewish people as well as certain people in your audience, not Jewish people in general, but certain people, especially in your audience, to Nazis. Now, that is extremely offensive when certain people are German, and they're also extremely offensive to people who've actually suffered under Nazi rule.
I don't respect that anymore. I really don't. I don't like and I don't respect the crocodile tears the crocodile tears. No, I'm sorry, folks. Allow me to finish, and allow me to finish. Listen, sir. Allow me to finish. Allow me to finish. Sir. I don't like to play before an audience the Holocaust card. But since now I feel compelled to. My late father was in Auschwitz. My late mother, please shut up. My late father was in Auschwitz. My late mother was in Majdanek concentration camp. Every single member of my family on my father's side, the Jews did not take arms against the Germans. My late father was in Auschwitz concentration camp. My late mother was in Majdanek concentration camp. Every single member of my family on both sides was exterminated. Both of my parents were in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. And it's precisely and exactly because of the lessons my parents taught me and my two siblings that I will not be silent when Israel commits its crimes against the Palestinians. And I consider nothing more despicable than to use their suffering and their martyrdom to try to justify the torture, the brutalization, the demolition of homes that Israel daily commits against the Palestinians. So I refuse any longer to be intimidated or browbeaten by the tears. If you had any heart in you, you would be crying for the Palestinians, not for what's been done.
Yeah. I mean, I who else can say it better than a person of Jewish heritage, whose entire family, besides his parents, were killed in that. If you don't respect that kind of testimony, then it's really not about the Jewish heritage. It's not about anti-Semitism. It's about you thinking that it's okay, you rationalizing that it's okay to kill Palestinians. And this is old. This has been going on forever. And we still are facilitating Netanyahu's government to pretty much live in a state of constant apartheid. This is an apartheid state, the state of Israel. And you know what? And we're turning it around and making it about anti-Semitism. You know, it's an insult, again, to those people who died. It's an insult to them.
And it's also to, you know, the deflection part is to not talk about the macro sense of what's really going on. And, you know, there's so many nuances, but as soon as anybody says anything negative against the state of Israel, it's always like, oh, you're anti-Semitic. Let's stop the conversation. Let's not get into this. It's so offensive. We have to talk about these things. As hard as they are. And we've talked about it the other day, fam. We've lost friends over this. We've had people get really offended about this. I have some Jewish friends of mine that I've lost. And I love them. I love everybody. I love human beings. And this is about something that's bigger than just, you know,
why are the
state of Israel and your
Palestinian
beliefs.
people like lost in this debate? Like, why is
Their
their
needs.
plight, their needs, their death, the way they're being treated not a problem? Why is Yemen not a problem? Why are we continuing to arm the Saudis? You know, ask yourself those questions. And this is exactly why we need to stand against the imperialism. And we have another tweet before we move on by Dan Cohen. He said, "I'm a progressive Jew, spent 3 years making a documentary about Gaza, and I wholly reject that Ilhan's tweets contained a modicum of anti-Semitism. She was attacked by the entire political establishment for speaking the truth about the Israel lobby's influence in Washington." He also said, "Not only is what she said about AIPAC perfectly legitimate, but it's actually anti-Semitic to equate AIPAC with Jews, as many have done to create this fake controversy. I personally find it extremely offensive to equate slaughtering children in Gaza to my religion and my ancestry." Exactly. So it's offensive to people who are, you know, who have actually undergone that. And Caitlin Johnstone put it best. She said, "For the last 2 years, the mainstream liberal establishment has been endlessly bleating about the need to elevate women of color to positions of leadership. Then the first black Muslim and first Somali American ever to get elected to Congress begins taking the leadership for which she was elected. And it turns out they actually meant they just wanted women with dark skin who will advance the status quo of the white imperialist patriarchy."
Beautiful and well said, Caitlin Johnstone. You know, I'm glad that somebody's going to Congress and doing the work on why we put them there. These issues, our voices being spoken. Way to go.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you.
Let's talk about a gate.
Your
Pick
favorite
one. Pizzagate, Deflategate. What's our favorite one? Oh,
I'm a Russian bot,
RussiaGate.
so
When you said
I'm a Russian bot.
well, let's talk about Russia, because guess what came out, fan? The Senate committee, I believe, came to a conclusion that after 2 years, and this was considered the only bipartisan, group to investigate. This is the only bipartisan committee, Democrats, Republicans alike. Now, once again, they don't have the power of Mueller. They can't indict anybody, but this was the only bipartisan group, and they've come to a conclusion that there is zero hard evidence that Russia colluded.
We could have
with
told
the
you
Donald
2 years
Trump
ago.
campaign.
By the way, after 2 years of vilifying every single person as a Russian bot that disagreed with the Russian narrative, after 2 years of a waste of time of investigations that we knew were going to lead nowhere, okay, the Senate Judiciary Committee finds absolutely no evidence of any kind of collusion. And you know what? Like, there are still people saying, well, Mueller hasn't, this isn't Mueller's investigation. Let's wait to see what he says.
Well, let's just wait for the investigation to finish.
You're not going to find. This is FBI, CIA. If they had something,
they would have
anything, they would have used it.
Yeah.
Come on.
And
these people lie to you all the time. Why are you putting your faith in them? Why?
But fam, Watergate. It took them years for Watergate because, you know what? Watergate was actually an investigation after a crime. A crime was committed, people were arrested, and then they did an investigation. This is an investigation looking for a crime, which is the exact definition of a witch hunt. For all you RussiaGators out there, sorry. That's what you got. We got a little video to play real quick there, Johnny Tsunami?
Yes.
We get this stuff together, fam, so we got to show it. My man did all the work over there.
God.
ABC News exclusive reporting on the Senate Intelligence Committee, their investigation into Russian election interference and what they have and have not uncovered. NBC's Ken Delanian has just jumped in front of a camera to join me with his new reporting. So, Ken, what are you hearing? What are you learning?
Hallie, after 2 years and interviewing more than 200 witnesses, the Senate Intelligence Committee has not uncovered any direct evidence of a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia. That's according to sources on both the Republican and the Democratic side of the aisle, Hallie. And careful viewers and readers will note that Senator Richard Burr, the chairman of the Intelligence Committee who leads this probe, essentially said that in an interview with another network last week. But what I've been doing since then is checking with my sources on the Democratic side to understand the full context of his remarks, because that was essentially a partisan comment from one side. But this is a bipartisan investigation, and what I found is that the Democrats don't dispute that characterization. The disagreement comes, though, over that pattern of context that we've all seen and heard about over the last 2 years. More than 100 contacts between Trump campaign officials and Russians. The Democrats say that those remain highly suspicious and that there's a pattern here that still raises questions. But the Republicans say that we just don't know in the end what those were. And Richard Burr said publicly, look, the motives for those are unclear, and we may end up with a report that says you decide, American public, whether there was collusion. Another important fact here, Hallie, is that they are nearing the end of this investigation, we are told.
Thank God.
That once they interview their final witness, it will take another 6 to 7 months to prepare a report. So the American public may not see the fruits of this for some time, Hallie.
Fam, so you decide. Fam, this is they're just going to put it out. They're going to leave it there. Oh, you decide. But why would Donald Trump Jr. meet with the Russians if they weren't colluding, huh, fam? Huh? What about all that money they spent on Facebook to get all Rasputin with you to convince you?
Like, everybody involved in government up until this point has pretty much had dealings with Russia. Specifically, business people, real estate people, they always are talking to Russia as far as where the money comes from and all that. So we're going to prosecute Donald Trump. And this isn't in defense to Donald Trump, by the way, at all. Like, but if we're going to prosecute him, we might as well prosecute the Clintons. We might as well prosecute everybody that came before them. Bush, everybody. Because you know what? This has been an ongoing theme forever. So there is nothing. And let's talk about how much money
the
Russians
spent a lot of money
spent, right?
on Facebook,
they spent $104,000.
You have a meme, don't you?
$104,700 on Facebook and Google ads in 2016, while AIPAC spent $3,602,343 lobbying the United States in 2016 as well. But we only talk about Russia's influence. So let's fast forward to 2018, where the Russian government spent $47,944 lobbying in the U.S. in, of course, 2018. But that same year, the Israeli government spent $15,813,972. So
lobbying.
Which country's influence do you think is greater?
Russia. Russia.
You know?
No, Russia. Because they want to attack us for our democracy. They are the evil ones, fam. His name is Rasputin, not Putin. And therefore, Israel's giving us money to help us out and stuff. And, just to, influence the little things. But they're our ally, and Russia is not. So, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, just the hypocrisy. And those are numbers. Those are facts. Like, you can go find them and look them up yourself. But I'm just baffled by how blinded people have to be. And a lot of this comes from Trump, from like hating Trump. And, that's fine. We can get rid of Trump. That's fine. He is who he is. And I can't stand the man. But
that's why I hated the Bernie Sanders part
with
the Russia shit. I know we know it's not, but once again, that's what we talked about. The Bernie Sanders this part we hate this shit. Now here's the Senate Intelligence Committee coming out and saying no RussiaGate stuff. We just let this go. We have evidence that there was an election that was rigged. It's called the Democratic primaries. We have the ex-chair writing a book saying it was friggin' rigged, but yet we're not looking at that. I mean, and people don't give a shit about RussiaGate. They want fucking clean water in Flint. For crying out loud. What do we waste all this money on?
No health care, no water in Flint. I mean, we have insects are dying like in massive amounts. Bees. And we are worried about Russia. We have a few other priorities we might want to put in check first. So we have our...
we got to get into You've Been Exposed because I'm all fucking fired up now. Let's go. Get the music. Get the thing going. Let's give a little You've Been Exposed. What does it sound like? We're going to play the game. Here, hit it up. Hit it up. You've been exposed. Yeah, that's my rosacea looking white face coming on there on the screen. I don't give a damn because we're going to expose some people today. First off, we're going to start off with Michael Conaway and Max Rose. We ain't going to let y'all slide. We didn't talk much about you in that last segment. But, we know you throwing this anti-Semitic, this fugazi anti-Semitic kind of claim out there at Ilhan Omar when she's clearly calling out lobbyists. And you know what we did? We looked on your open secrets, guys, and you are littered with a ton of money from lobbyists, from corporations. Mike Conaway in Texas, you got so much PAC money behind you, pal. You look like Pac-Man. That's what we're going to call you right now. Pac-Man. Look how much... all this dirty money from PACs. So you ain't calling out somebody for being anti-Semitic. You're calling out somebody for speaking against your employers. You want the same system. You're not funded by the people. Let me tell you something, Mike Conway and Max Rose, you Democrat. You've been exposed. Fam, who do you got for number 2?
Crazy goon. Kamala Harris.
Ooh.
Of course.
We should have some Tupac playing in the background right now. We really should. But they shut us down.
How are you going to tell us, Kamala, that you used to get high in college? I'm sorry, you inhaled in college, and and listen to Tupac and Snoop Dogg when they weren't even known till 2 years after you graduated.
Yeah, that's what I used to do, right?
Hey, how are you going to smoke the Chiba and then turn it around and just go and imprison people of color?
Yeah,
for smoking the Chiba
that you did.
The
same thing.
Literally, it's just not only did she expose herself as a hypocrite, it's privileged, and it's disgusting because she's imprisoning these people, and she's using this as a Hillary hot sauce kind of moment where she's pandering to young people. Like, we have this meme, where she has how do you do, fellow kids? Like, this is literally her. Like, it's literally
it's a Steve
her.
Buscemi meme, right?
It is.
That's what Johnny's good at. He found that stuff right here.
And then there's this other one. Ever get so high on pot you listen to albums which don't even exist yet?
No, I'm sure there's explanations for this, fam. Maybe shit was so cloudy for 2 or 3 years that she was getting so high all the time that she thought she was listening to Tupac and back in college, but she was really listening to it after college. But that's the thing that's so privileged. This woman has thrown more men of color in prison than anybody around nowadays. Yep. She's not going to win. She's exposed, fam. But you know who else we got next, fam?
Oh.
Your favorite, Rachel Maddow.
Rachel Maddow.
Rachel Maddow. You know, the conspiracy theorist, Rachel Maddow, and that's what I'm calling her right now. You know, she has this whole,
We're the conspiracy theorists.
We're the conspiracy. She has this whole thing, Do you have this up right here, the Rachel Maddow video right now? The one we put below this? Look at this shit. This is hysterical. She's a conspiracy theorist, period. She's painted herself into a corner. She's, what if Russia got a hold of our power grids and shut off the electricity during the winter? Now it's what if the Russians got into the Senate committee and convinced them, that Donald Trump should be let go? I mean, this is the stuff that's coming at it. Rachel Maddow is nothing more than a conspiracy theorist, and that's about it. So, Rachel Maddow, you've been exposed.
She has.
You've been exposed. Who's the next one?
Elliot Abrams. So in his previous government roles, Abrams was known as a hawk on Latin America, with his critics pointing to his involvement in controversial U.S. decisions in Central America, as well as his reported links to a 2002 coup attempted against the late Venezuelan leader, Hugo Chavez.
He was involved in that one, too.
Yep. In 1991, he pled guilty to 2 counts of misleading Congress about the Reagan administration's efforts to help the Nicaraguan guerrillas known as the Contras during a period when Congress was had banned such aid. He was later pardoned by George H.W. Bush.
We can't find anybody else. Let's get Elliot Abrams. He had 2 counts of lying to Congress. Let's get him up. He'll do.
It's like putting Ted Bundy, I said on my Facebook, like in charge of women's, anti-violence group. Like literally you're putting the guy that should be the most far away from this as possible in charge. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Donald Trump.
Disgusting.
Donald Trump, you said you were a non-interventionist. Now you're hiring all these war hawks, all these interventionist specialists. John Bolton, Pompeo, Gina Haspel. Now you're bringing it back. Elliot Abrams. Let me tell you something about Donald Trump. You know what happened to you? You've been exposed.
You've been exposed.
You got it. He's done. I'm done with you. Done. Dunsky, you cannot vote for Trump, whatsoever.
You can't vote for him for that. No.
He wants his own wars, fams, and he's terrible.
To end the show, we have these series of memes that just say a lot. So while Donald Trump has been crying about his ball, Bernie Sanders... Bernie Sanders is actually acting presidential again. The American people understand that a moral society doesn't give tax breaks to billionaires, then cut back on the needs of seniors or people with disabilities, as our Republican colleagues have proposed. Today, I am introducing legislation to expand Social Security.
And it's going to be huge. Huge, huge, huge. That's a good one. What's the next one, fam?
The next one is I have a meme of cats.
Oh. Where's the CONVO kitty?
Pretty much the cat meme showing how Medicare for All is a real cat and how access to affordable health care is a fake cat. It's a paper mache, dead, non-existing cat. And that's it. It's dead. The other one's alive. That's literally the metaphorical analysis of this
listen, I know it's all lost on this meme here. We're really talking about it. But wait 1 second. Put that back up again. Whoever did that friggin' paper mache cat did a great ass fucking job. I mean, that looks almost identical.
I need to do one of my cat.
Tail. I know. We want one of Cushy, the CONVO cat over here and stuff like that. What else we got, fam? We got cats. We got dinosaurs?
AOC. Yeah. We got
cats
the
and
meteor.
Dinosaurs.
The meteor of AOC coming down on the dinos.
Which, that's what? Would you believe it that Joe Manchin takes a lot of AIPAC money? Oh, yes, he does.
No, would have never crossed my mind, fam.
What do we got from Amir?
He says, we now have reached a point where liberals praise the deep state, which they do, as the pillars of honest and integrity, think whistleblowers should be executed, foreign media banned, and the Cold War revived, all because they couldn't even beat Donald Trump after rigging their own primaries.
One of my favorite things, I saw this a long time ago. I re-put this back up there. And once again, they're praising lobbyists, deep states, war machine, military-industrial complex. There's no ideology difference between the Democrats and the Republicans nowadays. Only a few of them, like Ilhan Omar, who's really speaking up. What else we got, fam?
So we have an image of Bernie Sanders in the official DNC merchandise at the convention back in 2016. So this is a racist Jewish caricature like seen in Nazi Germany portraying Jews as rats.
Remember this?
This is what they had of Bernie there in the DNC convention. This
it was
is what
the
they had
only
for $25.
one they had. That was the only shirt they had.
Is anti-Semitic. That was, just shared by millions of Hillary supporters, by people now saying...
Mocking him.
Now saying that Ilhan is anti-Semitic.
Are you mocking me with that shirt there, boy? David Sirota, what do you got?
David Sirota is always great. I love him. So he says we're living inside an episode of Black Mirror. Great show. Must watch. Whose plot is that the world receives this terrifying information and that yet almost nobody on the planet social media platform even pretends to really give a fuck.
AF.
Insects are dying off at record rates, an ominous sign that we're in the middle of a massive extinction. So,
but he's an alarmist. He's really bad, you know. I mean, well, listen, he might not be an alarmist, but you know, this is to me is like the Green New Deal. You know, a lot of people are talking about like, oh no, this is off the charts. What's this about housing and all this other stuff? Listen, you got to aim high. You got to change the discussion. We are killing off insects. There are a lot of bees dying. It might not be near the end or 12 years like these people think, but you know what? We're killing off society and humanity and living creatures at an alarming rate that we have to start really paying attention
and I'm gonna
doing something about it, fam.
Respond to that, fam, because it's no, actually their predictions are actually positive. Like, I mean, that's actually not even the worst case scenario. 12 years doesn't mean the world's going to collapse in 12 years. But it means there's going to be natural disasters that begin the collapse of the world and to a point of no return. And we're pretty much there. And that's why people keep hearing about the 12 years. And I choose to believe scientists over the opinions of people who have no idea what they're talking about. So,
well, last thing before we go, fam, you got a Valentine for tomorrow?
Yeah, my cat.
Oh, Cushy the Convo cat for Pasta Jardula.
Convo out.
You got to say, I'm Fiorella Isabel.
No,
I'm out.
I'm out.
You got to watch
like
more sports, fam.
No, I don't watch the NFL for obvious reasons.
Well, you know,
I stand with Colin. I stand with.
Like, subscribe. We love you out there.
You should stop watching football.
I know. I really.
Let's get Pasta to stop watching football.
Not happen. I'm gonna make a lot of big.
Come on,
trips.
watch something else.
YouTubers, get on there. Thank you so much on the MCSC Network. Thank
click
you so
like,
much.
subscribe.
Yeah, get over to our YouTube at the Convo Couch, our YouTubes, and help us out. We got to go to work, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.